So I'd like to introduce reinforcement theory to you. And I'd like to start with several angles to it. One angle is kind of personal. My advisor was a dissertation chair, was a serious behaviorist. So we kind of had to know this down cold, whether we liked it or not. The PhD seminar he was teaching had 120 articles, all on reinforcement theory. The other angle is a little more philosophical. It's probably one of the most impactful theories, not in psychology, but in entire social sciences. And it comes off, so B.F. Skinner in the 30s comes off after Freud, and you know Freud, it was all subconscious, right? Skinner says, listen, a lot of that does not matter. What do you mean? It's not that humans don't have personality or attitudes or feelings or emotions. It's just that if the environment is strong enough, it will override it. That is the fundamental premise of reinforcement theory. The human behavior, it's a function of contingent consequences. And now there's a lot of people who don't like that, and we'll cover that at the end. But in terms of that model that we talked about, self-regulation, so reinforcement would come, you have input, hits the standard, there's discrepancy, now you need to fix it, and you say, what's in it for me? So if you're a manager thinking that your people might be thinking, what's in it for me, this will give you a nice little framework to think about how to approach it. So the general idea is the behaviorists would say, let's just count the behavior. Forget about all these other variables. Maybe they're there, maybe they're not, maybe they're measured reliably, maybe they're not. Just count behaviors. Just count what people do. The behavior is determined by the consequence. That's what's going to determine whether behavior will occur or not, but behavior also needs antecedents. You need some knowledge to feed into that behavior in order to know what to do. If you only have knowledge, that doesn't mean the behavior is going to occur because you're not reinforced to do anything. According to this approach, for what it's worth, in order for you to do anything in life or work, you need to be reinforced somehow. So now we can get into types of reinforcement. So if you look at the slides, those two little pluses would say, these are the types of reinforcement that increase desired behaviors, which is a really nice framing. So positive reinforcement and negative would do the first thing, but very differently. And reducing the negatives, extinction would be the first one, and punishment would be the other one. So let me give you some examples. In terms of positive reinforcement, you can say, well, what is that? Well, it's basically the application of a positive reinforcer upon desired behavior. You can say, well, what is that academic mumbo-jumbo? What does that really mean? Well, it's that any consequence that increases the frequency of a desired behavior is a positive reinforcer. Now, that's really important because whatever I think it's valuable as a reward doesn't mean that that's reinforcing for you. So the big point for managers is try to figure out what increases the frequency of desired behaviors of your people, and that could be very different from what you think that is. Negative reinforcement is also trying to increase the desired behavior, but compare that with positive. Positive says, hey, goal is 10. What do you think about it? You agree. If you reach 10, here is the bonus. We're good, off you go. Negative reinforcement would say, it's either this or else. You either be at 10, and if you're not at 10, else is going to happen, and else is not good, right? Some kind of noxious consequence. Now, psychologists complicate this a little bit. They call it avoidance learning and escape learning. Avoidance learning is really that certain performance prevents an onset of an axe. So as long as you're doing this, axe is not going to fall down. Escape learning is certain performance terminates an already present axe, right? So you're already fired, but you put on probation, but if you hit 10, you're off probation. But it's a very different way of doing this. Extinction could be a first step toward trying to reduce the undesired. Let's, for example, say you're the young manager and you're just getting a lot of grief, right? People don't think you deserve it, and they're just trying to undermine you. So now you can confront them, you can start arguing or try to punish them, but one way would be to see if you can not react to it. And that would be extinction, which is the human behavior is followed by no consequence. Typically, if something is not reinforced, that should go away. However, this can have a negative effect if you do extinction for the good behavior, so you're busy, you're a manager, and you're simply not seeing where your people are going above and beyond, you're not reinforcing it, you're basically extincting a great behavior, and you don't want to do that. So that's extinction. Punishment, you know story there. It's an imposition of some aversive consequence upon undesired behaviors. A little more subtle way of doing it, what we call punishment by removal. And punishment by removal means you do something undesired, and I remove your company car, assuming you had it. Or you do something undesired, I remove your corner office, right? So I start removing the perks that I believe you care about. By doing that, I'm basically punishing you. So those are some ideas. There is way more to this. We'll cover it. The controversies, not everybody likes it. Why? Because the idea is that our behavior is controlled by the environment. So the old freewheelers, as I call them, they would say, oh no, we have free will. Skinner says you have free will, but that could be really dangerous. Well, what do you mean? Well, you certainly have free will to stay at home this morning, but then what's going to happen? Well, you do that more than once, and you're going to get fired, and then you're going to lose income, and then you're going to lose a lot of things in life. So he's like, yeah, sure, you can have free will, but you shouldn't. You should do whatever society affords you an opportunity to get some rewards from, right? And many times you kind of got to do what you got to do with that. But that's the debate, or they would say you have free will for your hobbies, but when it comes to business, there are certain things that you simply need to do, and that's controlled by the environment. And we will discuss this in class to much greater detail.